I'll be honest. 2 of them I was able to find. 1 of them I had to look up a guide and be like, where is that last piece?
See, what's nice though is because you don't need the armor.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like it's fair that you would
Cheat.
stumble upon it.
Alrighty then. We're back with some more of Darksiders. Gotta fix your shoulders.
Yeah.
A lot of characters in video games, they have idle animations.
Yeah.
War is just... Alrighty.
He's like, I mean, this armor's heavy, bro. Gotta make sure
Mario
that,
will
like,
fall asleep. He'll just...
Yeah.
Link sometimes, like, adjusts his clothes.
Yeah. I think my favorite
Sonic will
idle
wag his
animation
finger.
so far is Donna from Ys, because she just kind of like... Da-da-da.
Aw.
Abaddon is the destroyer.
Alright.
Archangel?
He was betrayed.
The plot thickens.
He is only a pawn in some greater game.
You must bring him peace. Peace? Abaddon is the destroyer. I'm pretty sure peace is off the table.
Azrael's just like, I am done
any
with
clues
this
among the
shit.
visions?
Yeah.
There was a sword, one which broke the seals.
The Armageddon Blade. But after the seals were broken, Abaddon ordered the blade destroyed on the very anvil of its creation. Horseman, I fear the blade is lost to us now.
It will be made again.
What else did you see?
Abaddon guards the seventh seal. He plots with others to storm the White Gates. Uriel will lead the Hellguard against him and fail.
What else did you see?
I saw nothing else.
I will open a gate to Eternus. Once it is closed, the garden and its secrets will be lost forever. When you are ready, I will begin.
Okay, so thus begins our hunt for the shards of the Armageddon Blade.
Ooh.
It's the most powerful weapon in the game, and it's required to take on the final boss. You
Okay.
can't enter the final battle without it. But I will also take this opportunity to get my last 3 pieces of the Abyssal Armor, which is the best armor in the game.
Yeah. I feel like it's very weird, though, because the aesthetic is very, like, medieval, even though it's dystopian, like, buildings and such.
Mm-hmm.
To hear the word anvil.
Well, it's the forge.
Yeah. But to, like, I feel like the aesthetic for the word anvil is very cartoon.
Yeah, you always think of Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Whereas, like, he could have said the forge. On the very forge, you know, it was
Yeah.
created. Or stone. The very stone it was
Yeah,
created.
The stone it was created. The problem with that is the player will be like, which stone? This stone? Flicks up a rock, a Korok appears.
Seek Alfheim. He will help you.
But,
He
like,
must help you.
the anvil.
Abaddon will scatter the forger names, hidden
crunch.
them where none that walk in the light could find them.
The Shadow Realm.
Yes, the Shadow Realm.
Use the
Hey,
Mask of
I go there every
Shadows.
time I stand up.
Assemble the broken blade. Then, return it to the forge of the Black Hammer. When this is done, return to me. Perhaps I can serve you one last time before the end.
Azrael, at any time you could have left me to my fate. Dead in the tower, lost among the ashes of Eden. Why do you help me now? When this is over, the Council will see that justice is done. I will kill Abaddon, and all who schemed with him.
We all must answer for our sins, Horseman. When the hour of my judgment comes, I will embrace it. Whatever the light decides. Go. Waste no more time on me. And tell Alfheim, he is the last hope of an old fool.
Azrael is the one angel I like in this game.
Yeah.
He's cool. He's like, yeah, I fucked up. And I will answer for it when that time
Yeah.
comes.
He's like, it's called self-accountability.
Mm-hmm. So right here's the first shard. Just so you have an idea of what they look like. And you can only see them using the Mask of Shadows.
Okay,
But
so
what's
there's
nice is if you check your map, that's where all the shards are.
Oh,
So you got to go to each of those areas.
okay.
Now the Abyssal Armor pieces are a lot trickier. Your map doesn't really give them away. I'll be honest, 2 of them I was able to find. One of them I had to look up a guide and be like, where is that last piece?
See, what's nice though is because you don't need the armor.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like it's fair that you would
Cheat.
stumble upon it or, you know, cheat. Whereas with the blade, like, if you need the blade to finish the game, like, I do like that it tells you what area they're in.
Yeah, it tells you the region, and then
Yeah.
you go to that region. Whoop, whoop. Went a little too far there. Oh, Volgrim. We're going to be using a lot of serpent holes, and we're going to be backtracking quite a bit to previous areas. So yeah, there's a couple games that do this. A particular Zelda game did it because it's just like, ah, shit, we're out of time. Well, let's just do a fetch quest where you revisit most of the areas. You got it.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it, but at the end of the day, if, like, time's a crunching, you have ideas, put them in a blender and hit frappe.
Yeah.
Like, it is a way to, like, not only revisit areas you might have missed, where it's just like, oh yeah, I missed this too. Especially in a Metroidvania, when you have the ability to get it.
Yeah.
It's a way to accomplish that.
I don't know.
It's just not an ideal way to end your game.
I almost like the idea of you can find those sword fragments the first time you're here.
Mm-hmm.
If you explore the area 100% and you find it, I don't feel like you should have to go back.
Okay. But if you missed it.
But if you missed it, you can go back.
Okay.
But if you have these fragments and you collect all of them before that cutscene, you can't use it. You just have all of them
Okay.
until the cutscene happens. And then it's like, da-da-da-da.
Okay. So, you think it would be funny if it's just like, go find these pieces. About that. You found the pieces.
Well, I feel like it could be 2 different cutscenes.
Okay.
So, like, the one cutscene if you don't have any of the sword pieces, or if you only have some of them. And then a different cutscene if you have all of them.
Makes sense.
So that way it would just be like, yeah, they've extended the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, like, the way that I play, I try to complete each area 100%.
Right.
Just because I'm dumb. And
No, that's not dumb. That's
if I
a
know
lot of
that,
gamers do that.
if I know I completed it 100%, I know that I went through the whole area.
See, whereas I don't mind because I'm always just like, I'll always be back. Whether I want to revisit it for aesthetic reasons or just to, like, dick around. So I'm just like, I'll probably come back here. Because you never know if the game's going to be like, now you're required to go back here. I'll be like, yes.
Yeah.
Or resource management. Hey, this area has really good loot and good monsters to kill for easy EXP. I'll be back here later. I missed this chest from last time. No worries.
Yeah.
I'm a lot stronger now. These enemies aren't pulverizing me. I'll just sweep through the enemies, and now I'll get the chest. There's that too. Because there were a lot of moments, especially towards the end, where you were trying to get the best ending for Ys. Without spoiling too much, but there was a couple, like, secret raids or hunts that you were just blazing through.
Yeah.
I was just like, I think you were supposed to do this a little earlier in the game.
Yes. Well, because I hadn't realized that whenever, as you're playing the game, you should be going back to do the hunts and the raids.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh, that's just like an option to practice. And I didn't do it.
Yeah. That and going back to Dawnus City.
Yeah.
You did that, like, towards the end, and you were just, like, going one after the other.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it was broken apart a bit more. It's where, like, Adal progresses, Dawnus' story continues, back and forth.
And I didn't play it that way. But at the end of the day, it made it super easy for me to, like, just plow through it.
All right, that's another piece of the Armageddon Blade. Armageddon out of here.
I think they make that joke in American Dad.
That's the title of a Mighty Max episode, I believe. Armageddon out of here. Okay.
I think that is my favorite, like, my favorite episode of American Dad
Oh, yeah?
is the Rapture episode.
Oh, of course.
Where Stan and Francine...
You're a sucker for the Rapture.
I am. Well, Stan and Francine, it's funny because they decide to have sex in church.
Mm-hmm.
And while that's happening, the Rapture happens and they don't get raptured.
Okay, so it's like a parody of Left Behind.
Yeah. So, but Stan blames Francine, so they decide to split up.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Stan keeps trying to get raptured, and Francine has just accepted that she's not raptured. And she ends up meeting Jesus.
Whoa.
It was a fun episode.
I enjoy American Dad a lot more than Family Guy anymore.
Yeah.
And a hell of a lot more than Seth MacFarlane's live-action endeavors, where I'm just like, this is fine. It has its funny moments. Like,
I don't even know what his live-action endeavors are.
So
I know he did,
Ted,
like, the Star Trek.
That's apparently one of the... That's funny. That's the one that I haven't seen. The Star Trek show that he's doing. Like, apparently that's the best one. I haven't seen it.
I don't
Ted,
know.
I saw. It was fine.
Yeah.
I saw clips of Ted, too. I just... more Ted.
Yeah.
And then A Million Ways to Die in the West. I couldn't finish it. Like, it was just on in the background. It just became background noise.
Yeah, I haven't seen those, so I guess that would make sense. The only one, I've seen a couple episodes of the Star Trek show.
Okay.
From what I've seen, like, it wasn't played as a comedy.
Really?
Like, it had some funny bits in it, but
It was advertised as one.
It was
At least I think
relatively...
it was.
It might have just been the episodes I saw.
Okay.
Because I used to...
I'd have to ask my therapist. He's a Trekkie.
Yeah. I used to go over to one of my coworkers' houses that I became friends with, and we would watch, oh my god, what show was it? I'm just trying to remember.
Sure. No problem.
Honestly, I think it was Supernatural.
Ah, of course.
And
When in doubt, just guess that one.
it was... Yeah, it was one of the, like, the popular shows that were coming out. And then immediately after that one was the Star Trek show.
Okay.
So it's like if we were just, like, having a good time, I would stay and would watch that.
Okay. Is that Star Trek show still running?
I don't know.
Like, I really don't know what Seth MacFarlane's been up to recently.
I just know, like, he wanted Family Guy to end.
I'm sure he still wants Family
when
Guy
he
to end.
killed Brian, that was supposed to, like, kill the show.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
Nope. So, yeah.
Yeah. But I would agree. I think I like American Dad more than Family Guy.
Well, like, OG Family Guy is, like, really good. And I've actually seen, like, clips of, like...
OG Family Guy was still clever. Whereas New
There's
Family
actually
Guy is
videos-
just like...
How do I explain this? Kind of like the concept of Family Guy before it became Family Guy, so none of the characters look like Peter Griffin or Lois. But the jokes are the same.
Yeah.
So it's just like... Oh, Reginald, I disagree! Like that one. Like the original pilot. And it has like a compilation of like the first couple episodes jokes.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh wow, that's really neat.
Well, I feel like Family Guy, like early Family Guy, used to be satirical in a very clever way.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just got silly. Like,
well, I know what happened was after a couple seasons popularity, South Park took a dig at them to be like, hey, Family Guy is just reaction humor. We actually tell stories, which is something The Simpsons does, is we tell stories. King of the Hill tells stories. And I think Seth took offense to that. It's just like, I could tell stories. So he started doing story arcs. People were just like, no, what are you doing? It's just like, that's not why. Like, you took the South Park bait.
yeah. I don't know. There are certain South Park gags that I enjoy, but for the most part, not really my thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to rewatch South Park because there's a lot of ones where I'm just like, oh wow, that's pretty clever. But it's also like so absurd. I don't know. I think I still like South Park. That's one that I would have to do a revisit on.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I would like it better now that I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. I just know, like,
It's
whenever
still going.
whenever I was first introduced to it, I was like, I don't really like this.
Did you ever see Book of Mormons?
Yes.
Did you like Book of Mormons?
Well, that's a lie. I know all of the music from the
Okay.
Book of Mormon, but I've never actually watched the Book of Mormon.
That's the same camp I'm in.
Okay.
Their other movie they did, which I thought was really funny, was Team America World Police.
Okay, I haven't.
That's a funny one. We'll have to check that one out. It basically talks about, like, the Iraq War and stuff like that, and Hollywood getting in, and they're called, like, the Film Actors Guild, or FAG. Oh, shit. That was a bad jump. And, like, it's all done with puppets.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And it's pretty clever. Pretty clever. I don't want to give it away, but it involves like Kim Jong-un and all that stuff. Much like how the South Park movie was about like Saddam Hussein and Satan.
I've never seen it.
Ah, okay. Well, then there's the South Park video games. I actually like those more than like the newer South Park. It's like you're a new kid and like everyone's LARPing. So they're playing like D&D. The first one's D&D. The second one's superheroes because, of course, the superhero phase. But the first one, everyone's LARPing with D&D and stuff. But it has like a Paper Mario kind of battle system.
Oh.
And it's just like, by the power of butters. And he's a paladin.
Okay.
It's pretty funny. And you can choose your class of like thief, warrior, mage, or Jew. But it's good stuff. I know you're like kind of like not really selling me on this, but
Yeah. I mean, like, from what I remember, those are, like, the reasons why I wasn't a super big fan of South Park. But that's just not my type of humor.
right. South Park punches up, it punches down, it punches forward, it punches left, it punches right, it gives you a side swipe. South Park just punches. If you're in the way of the fist, you're getting punched. Alright, so right now, I'm trying to locate Ulthane to be like, hey, fire up those fryers, we're forging a sword. Rev up those fryers,
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
I like the candles, like, I think they're candles inside the stones. Or the little lights.
Just figured they were like luminescent rocks.
Yeah. I
But
just think
hey,
it looks cool.
They can be candles. We're gonna go back to the hollows, because this is where another one of my Abyssal Armor pieces lies.
Ooh.
Yeah. So overall, like, are you looking forward to more Darksiders?
Yeah.
When we get to like 2 and 3?
I do definitely enjoy watching it. Like I said before, I don't think it's something that I would like to play. I feel as though I'd get very confused very easily.
Really? Well, you can also like press the select button to have the watcher like give you hints. I do that sometimes, but for the most part, I'm just like, nah, I got it. I got a map.
I think it's more than just where to go. Like, just certain aspects of the fighting.
Okay.
I feel like I would get very confused on.
Oh, okay. The combos and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not very good at combos. But I do really enjoy watching it. I know sometimes I'll go quiet, but it's mainly because I either really like the aesthetic of that area. I tend to go quiet when I'm paying attention.
Oh,
like,
neat.
I can't talk and pay attention at the same time sometimes.
Well, I mean, I have this problem, and it goes through, like, watching Let's Plays from, like, when they started.
Yeah.
Of being like, oh, you gotta talk the whole time, which... That depends on the Let's Player.
Yeah.
Some are very quiet and reactionary. It's like a cozy environment.
Right.
And it's just like the game is the forefront, not the player. And others are just like, gotta be funny, gotta be...
Yeah.
And then others try to strike a balance.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of like have a tug of war with that, but I feel like I'm getting a little better.
Yeah.
But it's also like, the Let's Plays that I've watched are very much like fast-paced. Like, it's funny, this is a game that's a... blender of ideas and inspiration, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. Is like, I watch shows like Hellfire Comms and Girlfriend Reviews, and I was just like, ooh, I can do that, I want to do that, and I was inspired.
Right.
But I also don't want to put on an act. I want to be my genuine self.
It's gotta be.
I don't want to be like, what's up, everybody, welcome, hit that subscribe button and check out this episode.
I hate it so much. Like, whenever I was writing scripts and I would have to, like, watch through hundreds of those videos almost every day, I was just like, I'm exhausted just watching those. And it's like, people wonder why all of these, like, big name YouTubers have to take breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have, like, a series of those serious videos of them being themselves, like, hey guys, I just wanted to let you know where I've been, like, you know, I was getting really overworked. And I'm like, yeah, that's because you put on this giant act for every video, and that's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Whereas my favorite Let's Plays, they still run, I just don't watch their shows as often. The two big ones was Video Games Awesome, which I just love their setup. To where, like, they literally have, like, a green screen of them on the couch and the game, so it looks like an environment.
Yeah.
And they're playing the game, cool. And they're reading the chat, and it's just, like, having a good time. And my second favorite is the one that's similar to this format, was Hellfire Comms, to where this dude recorded himself playing games, got some buddies on Skype and other buddies that, like, he knew, and they all recorded commentary over, like, Sonic and Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
And The Legend of Zelda, and they just, like, had a ball, telling jokes and reacting to things. And being like, God, this Sonic game sucks. I remember this Sonic game and stuff like that. That was the stuff that inspired me. Now, I know that, like, that's old school. That's... Yeah. Whereas a lot of, like, well, for one thing, Let's Plays are dead. Streaming's the thing. But my computer's like, haha.
Yeah. Well, not only that, it's like, that's a lot of time. Like, we are two adults that each have jobs and... Yeah. You know, we have a house, like, you know, we have
8 hours.
We have responsibilities, so it's like pick and choose, kind of when and where we're gonna record.
Yeah, pick your battles.
I don't know, but I do enjoy the aesthetic of this game, like, and it's the exact alley of, like, the storyline that I enjoy, like, you know.
Well, I definitely know it's like your theme.
Yeah.
Like. Modern.
Oh, I love, like,
angels,
dystopian,
demons, dystopian.
Yeah.
Which is why, out of all the mature-esque video games that I was thinking of introducing you to, this one was in the forefront solely due to the aesthetic. This is why this beat out Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, God of War, and so on and so forth. The other one is Dante's Inferno, but that game is hard as shit.
Yeah. I was nervous about Dante's Inferno.
I know you were. I was nervous about showing you Dante's Inferno. Because I was expecting another Shantae situation where I'm just like, no, this is fair.
Well, like, but from what I've seen when you were playing it and I was just watching, I don't mind the, like, certain aspects of it because of how it's done. Like, whenever you were fighting Lust, I think it was.
I'm still in Lust. I'm almost done with Lust, but the boss is giving me a hard time.
Well, she's psychotic. But, like, in Lust, everybody is naked. But they're not, like, exaggerated.
Okay.
You know, they look like people. Like normal people. You know, it's not like all of the female characters have boobs that would snap their bodies in half. Or like all of the male characters are like, whoa! Like they are normal people. Normal proportioned people. So, like, whenever I see that,
Did
I'm
you
less
notice
likely...
the demon with, like, the giant, like, whip penis, though? Like,
I
the
did
one that
not.
was just like, "Bleh," and, like, the penis is, like, the monster, basically. And I was just like,
Well,
good
I mean, it's the
God.
same with the boss, where all the, like, weird little spiders jump out of her nipples.
Yes.
Like...
So, like, there is some ridiculous, but
yeah,
it's also not...
there's some
it's not-
ridiculous, but
it's very unpleasant.
but it's also, like... That's the area you're
Mm-hmm.
in. Like, I'm not expecting the entire game to be like that, except
No.
for when you reach Satan and he's got that,
Big old goat dick.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is uncomfortable. But, yeah, I think it either has to be super absurd like that and
Okay.
kind of like a startling way where you're like, oh god.
Yeah.
It's not fan service.
I got you.
Like, I don't foresee many people being like, ooh, the boss for lust, them spider titties. Like, you know,
Hey, you don't know people's fetishes.
hey, I mean, you do you. Like, no judgment. But it's not a fan service. It's meant to be uncomfortable. It's meant to be creepy
Yeah. It's meant to take that sin and, like...
and make it creepy. Like, and I feel as though I have an easier time accepting that than, like,
a joke.
a joke or something ridiculous that is only meant for fan service.
Okay.
Impossible. In Eden, I stood with Azrael before the tree. It showed me the weapon that will stop him.
My forge is yours, horseman.
You have forged it already. The Armageddon Blade.
It's gone.
You can reforge it if I bring you the broken fragments.
But they're scattered. Lost.
Make preparations. I will bring them.
I don't know why, I just like the dramatic, like, fist on the table.
God! Slam the table.
Like, this shit again. Forging that damn Armageddon Blade.
Yeah. One thing I'm trying to get better at is, because I read so much, is connecting things that aren't books to books. So it's like, oh, if you really like this video game, you'd really like this book.
Oh,
or
okay.
if you like this movie, you'd really like this book. And I feel like I have the perfect one for this game or this series, and it's called Hell Followed With Us.
Okay. Tell us a little about it.
I'm kind of obsessed with it. It's dystopian,
Of
so it's
course.
very much like this. The world has pretty much ended, and they're waiting for the second coming.
Mm-hmm.
And our main character that we're following, I love the way that they did it. So he is trans,
All right.
because it's a modern book and, you know, inclusion. But it's so much more than that. And this character is supposed to be like the harbinger. And they don't want to be. And he keeps running away from it. And basically heaven is trying to find him.
Them.
No, it's him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He was born female and didn't want to be female. And
Identifies as male.
Yeah.
Got it.
but like he finds this little like cluster of people that basically think like he does, and he tries to just like hide there with them until the angels find him, and they start like killing everyone around him.
Oh, shit.
So it was so good. It was such a good book. Very like atmospheric, just like how this is. Like,
And is it a series or?
no, it's a standalone.
Oh, it's just one book?
Yeah, it's a standalone book. But it was really good.
Okay.
So I feel as though if somebody absolutely loved Darksiders and they're like a reader, they should definitely read that book.
Is that like a task you're going to give? Every game would be like, what book reminds me of a boy and his
Sometimes
love?
I'm just like, what does this make me think of?
I read a book that reminds me of Klonoa.
Like, I think some games, like, there's not gonna be a book. Like, if you were to ask me about Mario, like, what book would Mario be? I don't think there is one.
Okay.
Because he's such a well-known character.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, there's no children's book about a Brooklyn plumber
That you know of.
that I know of.
You don't know Brooklyn ways.
Yeah.
Alright, so we got the Abyssal Armor. I'm showing it off right here. And in the next episode, we're going to find the remaining shards of the Armageddon Blade.
Ooh.
And then it's off to face the Destroyer. So yeah, we're wrapping this up. We'll see you all in the next episode of Darksiders.
I know. I tried to go deep and I Toodles.